Coming up on As Told by Destiny.
My dear, we love your design. We just don't love you wearing it.
Bitch, you out of order.
Hello out there in TV land. Take a look at your monitors.
Hi, I'm Destiny from As Told by Destiny. You're watching YouTube. Way back in 2004, when I was just 5 years old, That's So Raven, the TV show that had my heart, mind, and soul at the time, put out an episode centered around a topic I don't think many kids shows were centering at the time: body positivity. I was very young when this episode first aired, but I still know how bold and, dare I say, powerful it was for them to center such a topic on the Disney Channel. And now, over 20 years later, what occurred in this episode remains extremely prevalent, making it something I think the youth needs now more than ever. The kids are growing up on baddies in Jocelyn's cabaret. We are living in dangerous times. Let's get into it. So the episode starts off with our girl Raven in front of the classroom reciting a poem for Poetry Week, and I'm guessing the assignment was that the poem could be about anything you want, because that girl is up there talking about shoes.
So many shoes, but only 2 feet. I wish I could buy every pair that I meet.
Which reminds me that I recently saw Raven going viral on Twitter for her attire, and I just have to say, as a child, I did not comprehend the magnitude in which Raven really had that shit on. Growing up, I just thought her clothes were pretty, and in my mind, as a child, I assumed she made everything she wore, and what she did make, she got it at the mall. I wasn't thinking about it that hard, but no. In real life, my girl was on set, dripped the fuck out. My bitch was showing up the first period in Giuseppe heels. Oh my God.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
Let me get back on topic. Right in the middle of reciting her poem, Raven gets a vision out of nowhere in front of the whole class. Now, I never really dwelled on it as a child, kind of like I never really thought too much about why people acted like Miley Stewart was a whole different person underneath that blonde bust down. But now that my frontal lobe is developed and I'm thinking outside the box these days, what did the people who had no idea that Raven was a sidekick think was going on with her when she had a vision? Because they would come out of nowhere, and most of the time right in the middle of a conversation. Raven would have her head cocked to the side, eyes bucked as hell, staring off into the distance. On the outside looking in, that had to be a crazy sight for people who were not in her inner circle. Oh, the word around town had to be that Raven was a little off in the head. They had to think she was a little insane in the membrane. Anyways, in the vision she's currently having on display in front of everybody, Raven sees herself scrunted like she means it down a runway. Cameras are flashing, hands are clapping, and being a girl who lives and breathes fashion, the vision is right up her alley and excites her so much that she forgets she's still in school.
That was so cool. And I'm still in school.
But since most of the time Raven only gets the visions with no other guidance, now she has to figure out how the hell and why the hell she was on the runway. We cut to her walking down the hallway with Chelsea telling her all about the vision and trying to piece things together. At the same time, Chelsea is reading a new issue of something she calls Teen Look magazine. Coincidentally, as Raven is going on and on about her vision of being on a runway, Chelsea reads out loud that they are having a clothing design contest and the winning design will be modeled on a runway.
Signs will be modeled on a runway in front of a cheering crowd. I felt so beautiful and proud.
Immediately, Raven connects that contest back to her vision.
Chelsea, this is it! I'm going to be modeling my own creations.
But it takes Chelsea, who was so smart but so damn slow at the same time, just a little longer to connect the dots.
Figure out that vision. 3, 2, 1.
Then we end up at the headquarters of Teen Look magazine, where I'm assuming everybody who wanted to be a part of the contest was told to gather. Raven shows up full of confidence with her designs and Eddie and Chelsea right by her side as usual. They really had no reason to be here, but thinking back on it, they never let our girl face anything alone. There were plenty of times where they could have left her high and dry. Lord knows I would've, because most of the shit Raven got into had nothing to do with them. But I swear I think they would have followed that girl to hell if she needed them to. Dare I say, the most iconic fictional friend group ever?
Real friendship.
Anywho, because of the vision she had, there's no doubt in Raven's mind that she already won the competition. Plus, she knows that she is an amazing designer, so her self-esteem is on an all-time high, as it should be, because you gotta believe in yourself, because you is smart, you is kind, you is important. What am I talking about?
Child. Anyway, so
Eddie tells Raven that she's going to blow up, and Chelsea attempts to give her some words of encouragement too by telling her that all she has to do is beat out hundreds and hundreds of super talented hopefuls who share the same impossible dream.
But they didn't have a vision.
Yeah, nice save. Thanks, Chelsea.
I won't lie, Chelsea funny as fuck for that. She basically said, but they ain't had no vision though. Chelsea move. Anywho, Raven goes off to change into the outfit she made for the competition. Then while she's gone, a lady named Victoria Kayne comes out and announces herself as a former supermodel and the current editor-in-chief of Teen Look magazine. She lets the hopefuls know that today the judges will be deciding who will move on to the finals and will be lucky enough to have their design showcased on the runway at the upcoming big fashion show. Then they don't waste any time getting into things with Miss Kayne bringing out the first model, who's wearing an even gown designed by Lucy Orrich, one of the contestants who's sent off to the side. So we immediately see that Raven may have been the only designer who decided to model their own clothes. Then, just as Miss Kayne is about to announce the next designer and their model, Raven comes out in the fly ass dress she made, and being the it girl that she is, Raven starts skirting down the runway, letting the people know who she is and what she's about.
Yes, I know what you all are thinking. Is this a Raven original? I'd be speechless too.
But while she's doing this, Miss Kayne is looking at her like she's perplexed about why Raven would even think to come out modeling her own clothes. She says to Raven, "Excuse me, aren't you the designer?" Raven, who isn't picking up on the weird ass energy that Miss Kayne is giving off, tells her that yes, she is the designer. Then she lets the people in the room know how she's been designing since she was in diapers.
I used to put little glitter and sayings and, little flowers, trying to add a little beauty to the duty.
Miss Kayne, who still can't take Raven being on that stage full of confidence, asks her where her model is.
You're looking at her. I have always dreamed of modeling my own creations.
Then a black lady, who I'm assuming is a makeup artist by the way she adds a little blush to Raven, compliments her on how she's working that dress and says it's definitely something she would buy. And compared to Miss Kayne's nasty ass energy, the interaction was much needed. Then as Raven is still on the stage giving it to the girls, we cut to Miss Kayne, who is whispering to one of the judges about how Raven might be a problem.
What do you mean by that?
Now we're back at school the next day or a couple days later. It's not important. But now Chelsea is in front of the class giving her poem for Poetry Week that no one is interested in, not even the teacher, Mrs. DePaulo. That lady is reading the new issue of Teen Look magazine, which she confiscated last period. This is how Raven finds out she's a finalist in the competition.
Raven Baxter is a finalist in the Young Designers Contest.
Yes!
Which is kind of iffy story, right, to me, I guess, because as important as this opportunity was to Raven, I feel like a scene where she was at a newsstand or something waiting to get her hands on a new issue of the magazine would have made more sense than her teacher randomly announcing it in class. It's as if Raven wasn't even concerned about it anymore until Mrs. DePaulo said something. Then again, maybe because of her vision, she already knew she had it, so she really wasn't too pressed on finding out for real. But whatever, I'm thinking too hard.
Child. Anyway, so
Raven gets out of her seat happy as can be, and she says to the class that dreams do come true. Then she tells Mrs. DePaulo to give her the magazine so she can see. And this is when things get downright disrespectful and wicked, because who and what the fuck is this, hunty?
Boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
It is me. I mean, that's my face and that's my dress, but that's not my body.
Oh, they got Raven, me, my mama, my sisters, my grandma, and my homegirls upset.
it's upsetting me and my homegirl.
Rightfully so, Raven heads down to the Teen Look headquarters to see what's good. She literally walked out of class. How they let that slide, I don't know, but let's keep going. When Raven gets there, the first thing Miss Kayne does when she sees her is congratulate her on making the finals, as if the magazine she's the editor-in-chief of didn't print a teenage girl with a whole different body than the one she showed up with.
Congratulations on making the finals.
My dress did, but my body didn't.
Miss Kayne tells her, "Don't thank me, we have the best photo retoucher in the business." No the hell y'all don't. Look at the neck. I could have did better than this on PixArt. Please. Anywho, Raven wants to know why Miss Kayne and her people made her look super skinny anyway. Didn't they like her design? Miss Kayne basically says we do, just not on you. Raven wants to know why not, and Miss Kayne says, let's just put it this way.
You just don't have the look.
Then she points to a model on the cover of Teen Look magazine who's supposed to represent the look, a girl who's thinner than Raven. Sadly, Raven says, well, this is the only look I have. What am I supposed to do? This is when Miss Kayne explains to her how things work around there. She tells Raven that she's a designer, and then she points to the girl on the cover again and says,
Maisha, our cover girl, is a model.
Basically telling Raven, a confident teenage girl, that she doesn't have the right look to model the dress she made.
You're a loser.
Basically crushing our girls' hopes and dreams.
You're a loser.
Basically making Raven flat-ass Baxter one of the dopest girls to ever exist. Real or fictional, doubt herself.
You're a loser.
Then Miss Kayne tells Raven to forget about the dress she made for herself and go make a new one in a Maisha size because she'll be modeling at the fashion show next week. But still, Raven isn't ready to give up. She tells Miss Kayne that she makes her dresses for herself.
You see, I kind of had this vision where I was on the runway, right, and I was hitting it.
Miss Kayne tells her
The only way that's going to happen is if you were a size 2.
Bitch, you out of order.
Then the lady from earlier shows up again and she's super happy that Raven made the finals, but because of the interaction she just had with Miss Kayne, Raven isn't that excited anymore. Now we're in Raven's room where she's making the new dress that Miss Kayne told her to make, but it's not for Maisha, it's for herself because she's convinced that she needs to get down to a size 2.
That vision was just so clear. I was up on that runway, so I must have been a size 2.
But even Chelsea's slow smart ass knows how ridiculous that is.
This is a size 2.
But Raven says that's the look and she wants the look and she'll do whatever it takes to get the look. Now imagine if this wasn't Disney Channel and it was Lifetime or something. This is season 2, so Raven is supposed to be about 15 or 16 here. Miss Kayne got a 15 or a 16-year-old girl feeling like she needs to change her whole body within a week or two, and that child is saying she'll do whatever it takes to achieve the look. Do you know how dark this shit can get? But luckily this is Disney Channel, so all Raven decides to do is exercise.
Gonna have to sweat. Ew. A lot.
She pulls out a workout machine that Victor bought a while back but never used, so it just got turned into a coat rack. And I know it's not humanly possible for Raven to be able to fit into that dress before next week, no matter how many calories she burns. Unless she plans on doing some drugs or something, I don't know. But our girl is determined.
Arms, legs. Oh.
She gets to going on that machine and everything is all fine and dandy at first, but then a fly comes out of nowhere and one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, our girl is laid out on the floor. It honestly reminds me of me when I attempt to work out in my room. Raven goes back up to her room, sore as hell, and she picks up the dress she created and looks at herself in the mirror. Feeling real down, she says to herself,
I'll never get to model this dress. That was the stupidest vision I ever had.
I don't want to cry.
Now it's the day of the fashion show and everybody is backstage getting ready. Maisha has on Raven's dress, so it's looking like our girl gave up.
Don't worry, Ray, you designed such a beautiful dress and it looks good on both of you.
Yeah, but no one's gonna see me in it.
The makeup artist from earlier, whose name we finally find out is Mimi, overhears Raven saying that it's too bad no one would see her in the dress she made, and she starts giving Raven hella attitude. Raven goes up to her and wants to know if she did something. This is when Mimi lets Raven know that she feels like she's a sellout.
I thought you were gonna be wearing that dress.
Raven says that she wanted to be in the dress too, but at the same time she wants to win. And with everything going on with Miss Kayne, she knows that she'll have a better chance at it with Maisha in her dress rather than herself. But Mimi says that just once she wanted to see a regular person out there modeling clothes for regular people. Raven says, what can I do? I don't have the look.
That may be the look, but it's not the only look.
I'm sorry, but I just have to get Mimi together for a second. It's going to bother me if I don't. Now I understand what her character is supposed to represent, but a grown lady calling a teenager a sellout for feeling like she doesn't have what it takes to go up against a monster as strong as the fashion industry doesn't sit right with me. I could see if Mimi was standing in solidarity with Raven, but she put it all on Raven's shoulders and tried to make this teenage girl feel like it was her duty to go against things. And I hate to come at my girl like this when she ain't doing nothing but talking. She did Maisha's makeup while she was wearing Raven's dress. If it was this deep for her, she could have refused to do Maisha's makeup and told Raven, hey, let's do this together. I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's not right for Mimi to call Raven a literal child, a sellout, when she's actively working for the company and not doing anything to change things herself. It's not all on Raven. But whatever, I'm thinking about things too realistically. Let me remember that I'm watching Disney Channel.
Child. Anyway, so
the fashion show gets started with Miss Kayne hosting, and she happily announces the first designer and their model. And I can't lie, the hair, the outfit eats 10s across the board. Then Miss Kayne gets to the second designer, which is Raven, and notices that she is not in her assigned seat, and she is gagged. But before she can register what's going on, both Amacia and Raven come out wearing the dress that Raven designed. So Mimi's words gave Raven the push she needed to get out there and model her own dress, no matter what anybody had to say about it, because who gonna check her, boo?
I have.
Anyway.
You should not be up there. Oh, I think I should.
I'm proud of Raven, my homegirls are proud of Raven, but not as proud as her parents.
My baby made that dress.
And I made that baby.
And I helped.
What did he say?
Then Raven and Amacia start having a pose down. They start doing some crazy shit up and down that runway, but as comical as it is, it shows the versatility of the dress Raven made and how it works for all sizes. But Miss Kayne still can't take it, honey, and she tells Raven that she's ruining her show, but Amacia steps up and says she thinks Raven is pretty good.
I don't pay you to think this girl does not have the look.
Raven tells her, who says that's the only look? You make people feel bad if they don't look like that. No one looks like that. Amacia busts in and says, hell, I don't even look like that.
Because in case you haven't noticed, people come in all shapes and sizes, and they're all beautiful.
Now that's how you clear a bitch.
Put that in your magazine.
Let's go! I'm sick of her ass. I'm sick of that shit. Finally, somebody got her.
Then the vision Raven had in class earlier finally comes true. Then the episode basically ends with Raven running from security. I just remember as a child, this episode would hurt the hell out of my feelings because Raven Baxter was one of the coolest black girls ever to me. I don't know what this means, but still to this day, Raven Baxter is one of the dopest black girls to ever exist, real or fake. That's my girl. I loved her growing up. I remember when I was in elementary school, we had a character day. I dressed as Raven. I remember I had on like this brownish shirt, you know, it had like cheetah print, and I was telling people that I was Raven Baxter. Raven was my girl. She was my ace boon coon.
this girl right here.
Yeah.
This girl right here.
Yeah.
This winner.
Yeah.
This strong black woman.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
It's my mother.
So to see her in a position where somebody was trying to make her feel bad about herself, oh, I did not like it. I did not like it growing up. I hated it. Because what do you mean? You're trying to make Raven Baxter feel less than? What do you mean you're telling Raven Baxter that she doesn't have the look? Are you kidding me? Oh, this episode used to hurt my little feelings. I used to feel so bad for Raven as a child, because don't ever try to make Raven Baxter feel like she's not that girl. And she's still, it's 2026, you know. Shout out to y'all, we're in 2026. It's 2026 and she's still that girl to me. Raven Baxter, still that girl. I'm sorry. Crazy enough, over 20 years later, you know, the world is still set up like that. Humans, what can I say? Humans. I mean, you know, humans. But I think it's just important to love yourself. Who it was, J. Cole, that said love yours, just love what you got. Because, you know, in the great words of RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell is you gonna love somebody else? So anybody who out here watching this video and you made it this far, I just hope you love yourself, because it has to start with you. It has to start with you. You have to love yourself, and that's what we're gonna do this year. We're gonna love ourselves. 2026 is the year of just loving you. For me too, you know. We're gonna love ourselves, and you know what? That's what we gonna do.